Hey everyone, it's Sean and Julie from Chicory's Travels, and today we want to talk about finding a new RV.
So, as you know, we've been full-time for almost 5 years now in our Heartland Cyclone, which is a toy hauler. And when we went to buy this RV, we really didn't hardly think about any of these tips we're about to share with you. We just kind of looked around and went, ooh, love it, let's buy it. So, first tip.
What is your camping style? So if you like full hookup campgrounds with all the bells and whistles, pools, hot tubs, restaurants, bars, all that, you might get away with having a large RV like we have, this 44-foot monster.
And we actually did that for the first 4 years. We were actually, at least 3.5 years, we were very content with just staying in campgrounds with full hookups and having not worrying about having to navigate. But after that time, we started wanting to stay in some national parks and state parks, and then we found out how limited we were.
Yeah, so now we're looking to downsize just because we want to have that freedom to go wherever we want to go. So into a national park, into a state park, into Corps of Engineer campground, all those places. And even out west, some of the regular private campgrounds, we are just too big to get into. So if we're going to continue to enjoy the west, we need to get a little bit smaller.
Yeah. So that brings us to the next thing, because length of RV is not always a good indicator of how much usable space you have. So how are you going to use the interior of your RV most of the time? And so what I mean by that is we got this big toy hauler for two reasons. One, we did have a toy at the time, and we had a son in college who was going to be using that as a bedroom. So once he graduated from college and we decided to get debt free, we weren't using that motorcycle very often, so we sold it. And then we also didn't have a need for the bedroom. So now we're toting around a garage that we don't really need.
And then we also thought it would be really cool to have this side deck, and it was the first year that they put these side decks on, and it's been nothing but problems for us. So we've had to replace it, and they're not all weather like they're advertised. So that was a real challenge for us, and it really takes away from the inside living space within the RV itself.
So that was definitely a lesson learned. We didn't do our research ahead of time about what features are great, and if you're looking for something it just came out that year, that new feature, you might want to wait and see.
And remember that bigger isn't always better. The next thing is the cost. Whether you buy new or used, and you finance it for, let's say, 15 years is the average. If you just make the payments, you're going to be upside down as soon as you drive it off the lot. A new RV can depreciate as much as 25 to 40% in the first year alone. So just be aware of that going in, and know that if you don't put a significant amount down, or you don't just outright pay for your RV, whether it's new or used, you're going to be upside down in it. So it's better to save up and pay as much as you can for that, so you're not losing that in case it's not the RV that you want and you really want to get rid of it.
So let's run you through what we're looking for in a new RV, because we are downsizing anytime now. We're actively on the hunt. We've been on the hunt for a while, and we'll give you some examples of how this kind of plays out, and probably what we should have done the first time, but you don't know what you don't know, right? We just didn't research enough. So for us, we were looking for an RV that we're hoping to be 30 feet or less. We're also, in terms of costs, because we made a huge mistake with our first RV, we didn't negotiate well, we bought it new, and we financed it for the full 15 years, and after 2 years we found out how upside down we were. So we made a concerted effort over the following 3 years, so 5 years now, to have it fully paid off. So now our goal in terms of cost was to not be more than $10,000 of what we could get for this RV.
Can you
What
explain
else?
that a little bit more?
Yeah, so say we could get $40,000 for this RV. We don't want our new one to be more than 50,000. Or we're going to talk about our options. If we got a drivable, we would probably get rid of our truck, right? So say we could get 40,000 for our truck and 40,000 for our RV. We wouldn't want that new drivable to be more, that would be 80 combined. So we wouldn't want that new drivable to be more than 90,000. So that was our budgeting limitation. A towable, no more than 50,000, a drivable, no more than 90,000.
And we want to stay in more primitive campgrounds and, like we said, state national parks, and they don't always have full hookups. They don't always even have partial hookups. We like to do a little dry camping now, so having something with a good tank capacity, fresh, gray, and black, is something that we're really looking closely at as well.
Yeah.
And something we didn't think about originally. Probably because we never had an RV before.
Yeah. And if we did get a drivable, we wanted it to be diesel.
Yeah.
We have a diesel truck. Why do you like diesel best?
Well, it has better torque and it lasts a lot longer. So you're going to get many years of use out of it. And like we held on to this one for 5 years, which is way more than the average. And probably the new one that we'll get will have 5 or more years as well. So we want something with some longevity in it, even if it's used. We want it to be able to last for a while.
Okay, so what did we narrow it down to? We only picked one drivable out of the group. We were basically looking at it like a mini Class C. So a
Winnebago View.
Winnebago View was one that we were looking at, but we would have to get a few years old to get down to that 90,000 mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the real downside to that one for us was the tank capacities are very small, smaller than what we really would have wanted. But we do like the layout with the Murphy bed in there and the big bathroom in the back, mm-hmm. which is another feature that we wanted, a dry bath, not a wet bath. So we're considering that one, but the tank size is really the hindrance on that.
And I didn't actually love, they have like a dinette and a sofa. I didn't really find either one to be super comfortable. So I'm also kind of concerned about that comfort level because we don't mind the Murphy bed because bring the bed down when we're sleeping, put it up. For us personally, and you have to ask how you're going to use it, we always go to bed at the same time. Even if we don't go to sleep at the same time, we'll both go to bed at the same time. So not a drawback that our bedroom and our living room is the same place, but I didn't feel that it was really comfortable. So we did find another one, and actually the price is a little bit better. It's a Dynamax Asada 3. And the thing I liked about it was your living space and your bathroom ended up being a little bit bigger because what you had was, instead of a Murphy bed, you had 2 big plush recliners. And then over your driver's side and passenger side could spin around with a little table, so there was still the work area. And then in the back, there was another slide. So it had 2 slides, even though it was also only about 26 feet long. But one on the wall where your recliners were, and then one in the back so that you could also still have a walk-around bed. The only thing we didn't love about that was, again, the tank size. And so we would have to always drive in to a dump station, like we just did 9 days boondocking, and we used 66 gallons of water from the fresh. The other thing that we didn't like about it, what else didn't we like about it? Oh, I don't like how when you have that bedroom back there, your bathroom is right across from your refrigerator, so it makes that space like really narrow, that little hallway there, and I just don't really like the idea of my bathroom being in my kitchen.
And I didn't mind any of that stuff. My main concern was the tank capacity, so that's where we're at on that one.
Okay.
The next one was an over-the-bed truck camper, and the one we really narrowed it down to was the Host Cascade, which is very roomy inside.
Oh my gosh, I loved the inside of this.
It has what they call super slides on the side, so they extend out a little further, a couple more inches than a normal slide. So it really made a huge difference, and it had 2 recliners in there, which were perfect, and a nice dinette.
Working space. It was more of an L shape, not all the way around, so I liked that about the dinette.
And the table was adjustable. It had more tank capacity than the the mini Class C's that
Oh,
we were
way more, almost double.
looking at.
Yeah.
The thing I didn't like about it was you basically lose any sort of carrying capacity of your truck because the camper's on it. And
Yeah.
so, and we would have to do about $3,000 worth of work on the truck to get it able to hold that. But it did have great storage underneath on that one because the host sits on the bed rails, not actually in the bed. So underneath that bed, or underneath where the bed of the truck is a huge sliding storage area. So the final choice of the top three, we've narrowed it down to, the last one is the Arctic Fox 29.5L.
No, 27.5L.
Okay, so it's 29 feet.
Yeah.
And it's a fifth wheel. And we like this one because it has the best insulation of any fifth wheel we've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And it has huge tank capacities for its size. So those are two big bonuses for us on that one.
It's also already wired for solar, so when we either trade in or sell our current fifth wheel, we're taking out our lithium batteries, but we are going to leave the solar panels because we hard mounted those, and obviously we leave the wiring. So this is nice because we won't have to redo the wiring.
Yeah, but some of the downside is it's not a lot of storage, so there's not a lot of extra storage underneath in the bays.
Although it is more than our other two.
Yes.
Options. Yeah. Sorry.
But
I
not
didn't mean to
more
interrupt
than
you.
our fifth wheel.
Oh no.
So the Arctic Fox is, it's got a walk around bed, which was another thing that was important to us,
Mm-hmm.
where the other ones not necessarily.
Yep.
Some of the other things that we like about it, again, the insulation, the tank capacity, and the everything's heated underneath, even all the way out to where the sewer hose connects. So if we wanted to go into some cold weather, which I don't really want to, but if we wanted to, that's a good option to have. The other nice thing about that one is that Julie will be more comfortable driving it, so I can take some breaks on the road. And she'll be able to handle that just fine.
Yeah, because I didn't mind driving our big one, like from truck stop to truck stop or rest area to rest area, but I did not like driving it in any type of cities because I just always was afraid I wasn't going to make a wide enough turn. And I mean, I have almost taken out a fence before.
Yeah.
I also would like to be able to back it in myself too. I have parked our big one in a pull through, and that was daunting enough. So yeah, it would definitely. But I like the layout of this one because it has a rear kitchen, no island. You actually only have a slide on one side, but it doesn't seem like it.
Mm-mm.
It's so open and light. So I like that about it. Definitely giving up some storage, but we're going to do that with any of our options. We already have a fifth wheel. We know fifth wheels. We have a hitch in the bed of our truck, so we don't have to test that out. I will say one of the drawback to especially the last two, the options of the truck camper and the Arctic Fox, is that I have been searching for months now, and it is very difficult to find any used. Only a couple years. We were going to get
that's
gently
what I was
used.
going to say. It's hard to find those used for some reason, which kind of speaks to the quality, I think, is that once people buy them, they don't get rid of them. So we've been looking for used models, and we just can't find them.
So with used, with both, well, actually with all three choices, with used, we could get it actually probably for the same amount of what we can get for our RV and truck if we got a drivable. But we're going to have to decide if we want to buy new, if we can't find a used one that's in the time frame that we want, because like I've seen, like with the Arctic Foxes, I've seen several out there that are around 2010s that are used, but I'm having a hard time finding any newer that people are asking a reasonable price. I've only seen a couple, so I'm not sure if that means that they're not being reasonable or that they really hold their value. I find it they might hold their value better than some fifth wheels, but I have a hard time believing that any RV really holds.
Right.
It's still a depreciating asset regardless. So that's a hard decision now that we're going to make. that's where we're at right now.
Yep.
We're going to pick between the three, and then when we pick the one, we're going to figure out if we're going to go ahead and get new or get used.
We're just going to find the best deal that we can get.
Yep, the best deal that we can get, staying within that budget limit that we set for ourselves. So I hope you found this helpful. Just some ideas of things to look for and some struggles that we've had in our current process. And go ahead and tell us in the comments below right now, what do you think? Which one should we get? Which one would you get if it was you?